So I don't want to keep anybody longer than we need to, especially since we're taking up people's lunchtime here. So welcome to the Government Cost Accounting Survival Guide. I'm DJ Austin, Chair of the Indiana Defense Technology Council. For those that may not be aware, the Council is a group of organizations that work in defense-related areas and on defense-related technologies. One of our goals with the group is to make working with the government easier so that we may focus on the products and services that are in support of the DoD mission and the warfighter. Clearly, defense-related covers a broad range of categories. Everything from the food soldiers eat to the next generation gas turbines that are in the F-22. But whether you're working on MREs or compressor blades, one of the things that as defense contractors we all have in common are the government's requirements, the FARs and DFARs. And no small amount of those are related to government cost accounting. Our first contract at my company, I remember it came in this PDF by email. Okay, 30 pages, that's not bad, I can handle that. Well, 6 of those pages had single-line clauses that were incorporated by reference. And you had to go back and find these very expansive FAR clauses and DFAR clauses. So in order to provide some insight into that, we've asked David Shelby of Innovation Resources to come and talk to us about government cost accounting. A couple of housekeeping items. If any of the remote sites have issues hearing us at any time, please let the front desk know, and they will get in touch with us and we'll work on that. The presentation files, as well as the handouts that you have in front of you, and the chart of accounts, which is an Excel file, those are available on the website at indianadefense.org/events. If you have any trouble with those, please email events at indianadefense.org. We will be posting a video of this hopefully sometime this weekend. And I will also be sending out a survey to those who have registered. And please fill that out. It helps give us feedback and we can make this a little bit better next time. So let me introduce our speaker. David Shelby got his BA in economics from Purdue. I know she didn't list a year on that. Okay. He got his MBA from Indiana Wesleyan University with the Outstanding Professional Award. He served as a business and finance consultant to other small businesses for several years. He was Senior VP and Commercial Lending Officer at Old National Bank. Most recently, he was CFO and VP of Finance and Business Operations at Griffin Analytical Technologies. And now he is the founder and managing partner at Innovation Resources. So with that, I will turn it over to David. Oh, right. They don't want to hear me.
So good afternoon, and the reason why I think we're here today is to learn about government contracting and specifically accounting. Just because I'd like to reaffirm some of the important aspects of government accounting. Why do we do government contracts to begin with? Well, R&D contracts provide non-dilutive financing for your business. So most folks that are involved here at the parks are involved in a startup business or early stage business of some kind. R&D contracts are a good source of non-dilutive financing. R&D funding provides a revenue stream to cover uncertainties in sales cycles. So if your company begins to get more mature and you actually have sales, sometimes sales have some irregularities, and it's nice to have some government contracting, R&D contracts to keep things smooth in the revenue cycles. And then finally, as you're trying to commercialize your products, having R&D contracts with the contacts in the DoD will help you gain product validation because you're working with the customer, the ultimate customer, right from the very beginning. Now then, if you're going to do government contracts, why do government cost accounting? Well, it's a funding requirement. If you are doing commercial It's an eligibility requirement for commercial firms if they're posting their services or products on the federal supply schedule. I won't be talking a lot about the federal supply schedule today because I believe most of the audience listening to this are interested in R&D contracts or grants. Okay, so now that we know that we have to do it, or we need to do it, we need help. This seminar is basically for entrepreneurs. I wanted to focus on certain things that we would want to see or understand as we're starting a company. And so I've divided into three parts. First part being the landscape of government contracting. Who, what, when, where, links to almost everything. So we have before you a page, or several pages of links for government accounting, where to go. And I'm going to go through some of these to begin with and give you some pointers because I think it's very important to sort of understand the landscape. I'm going to talk about in part 2 government requirements, and then finally your government accounting system. But I also want to mention a few things because a lot of the folks that are here today or who will be listening to this maybe online are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs believe in themselves. They can often go further than other people in finding and figuring things out. For this reason, I'll cast this broad net over government contracting and give this landscape, as I said. To do it yourself, or we'll have several resources that they can get to. But I also want to talk about some pitfalls in government accounting, and I'm going to give you the first pitfall in government accounting for entrepreneurs right now. Listen, this is very important. It's a word of wisdom. Entrepreneurs are risk takers, and I've been involved with a number of companies, and a number of companies that have taken risk, and I've seen a number of companies. I've been out at the Purdue Research Park here for 12 years. I've seen a lot. I want to tell you that it's important, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to be a risk taker, to concentrate your risk only in your area of your core competency. If you are developing a product and you have a technology that is not quite yet developed, and there's some risk in that, that better be your core competency. And you better not be taking risks on the marketing side. You better have a business plan that has everything with no risk on the marketing side. Sometimes you'll be fortunate enough to have a company that has very little risk. It's just a slam dunk on the technology side. And if that's the case, then you can take some risks on the marketing side. Now, if you just happen to be a company that's a slam dunk technology and you've got the marketing completely figured out and there's just no risk to take anywhere, then if you like, then you can take some risk in figuring out government accounting on your own. Not very many people do that. So I suggest that you find someone, whether it's me at Innovation Resources or someone somewhere, to assist you with government accounting, because that's an area that you probably won't find in your own core competency. This is a picture of me at the Grand Canyon. Landscape, we wanted to talk about landscape of government accounting. Well, this is a good landscape picture. It's got multiple cliffs and pitfalls, and that's pretty much what government accounting is about. I like the picture because it depicts the vastness of government accounting. And there I am sitting trying to figure out what I can do for folks in government accounting and help them to avoid some of these pitfalls.
Because you use this in the presentation, is that now an allowable, that trip was now an allowable cost?
Yes, it would be, but I've already expensed it as unallowable, so I can't recoup that one. It's a good question, Michael. Okay, so the part of the landscape is, and I'm going to start from the beginning, and I'll assume that that you're out here for the first time, and I sometimes like to use, backpacking, which is my hobby, or trail hiking as an analogy. I hope you don't get sick of that, but that's what I do. And one thing about a trail is that other people have successfully negotiated that trail. They've been on it, there's usually a beginning, there's an ending, there's a destination. And that's what I want to provide for you today. So the very beginning, if you're going into government contracting, is that you've got to get yourself plugged in. I'm going to flash through these fairly rapidly, but you're going to have to get with the Dun and Bradstreet. You're going to have to get a DUNS number for the physical location of your business. You're going to go on to a website called Central Contractor Registration. It's the primary registered database for the U.S. federal government. CCR collects, validates, stores, disseminates data in support of agency acquisition missions, including federal agency contract and assistance awards. If you haven't been there, then you can't even get started in government contracting. Once you're there, though, you will assign yourself an NPN number, and that's a very important number that you need to remember and keep. You won't have to use it often, but you'll need to keep it handy. You'll use that for going in and seeing what your past performance has been on contracts, for performing online representations and certifications, which I will go into just in a moment. And it's a mandatory data element created by the CCR registration. I'm going to give you a little pointer here because this is what I ultimately ended up doing. I took just a clear, red, transparent slip sheet, and I wrote down on a piece of paper every single number like this, and stuck it inside this red slip sheet and put it in my phone book. And it was amazing how many times that people would call across the company or someplace, they'd ask me these numbers, and I could just flip right to them. It's just so helpful if you have those handy. Cage code is something that you'll need. It's required for, it's part of the activation with CCR. At that point, you'll also indicate who are the primary and alternate points of contact for your company. Now, before you can get all of this, what you'll be doing is, when you're filling this out, you'll put in your tax ID number. And the tax ID number then, because this is the government, they go back and they check. And they see, does this entity actually exist with the IRS? So if you're starting a company and you haven't done the TIN yet, you have to do that first, then come back and do this, and give them a day or two or maybe a week at the CCR to validate your existence through the IRS.